When we think about the idea of Roman law during the Middle Ages, we have to think about that there was a specific type of relationship between the Western Middle Ages and the East Middle Ages. In this sense, in fact, when there was the Emperor Justinian in the East Roman Empire, we know that Justinian developed a specific type of behavior to try to reconquer the west part of the Western Empire. This is really interesting because we know that in the 5th century AD, but this type of structure, this type of situation happened in particular in the end of 4th century AD. From the 366 and 378 to the end of 5th century AD, we know that there were the invasions, the barbarians invasions. This is really interesting because with these invasions, the Central Europe, in particular, for example, the territory of France, the territory of the Italian peninsula, but also Spain, and then, in this sense, the western part of Africa, saw an important movement of barbarians that arrived in this sense in Europe and then conquered, for example, the Vandals, the western part of the Western Roman Empire. In this structure, we know that we have to speak about of the Roman kingdom, of the barbarians kingdom in relation with that type of Roman structures that maintain themselves during this period. In fact, the different type of cities maintain themselves in relation with the barbarians. Barbarians arrived and developed the type of politics in relation with the Roman urbanization. At the same time, we know that the idea of Roman law it was in relation with the fact that Rome became Christians, and therefore, after Constantine, in particular at the beginning of the first century AD, the official religion of the Western Roman Empire became Christian, the Christianism. It is really interesting because with the fallen of the western part of the Roman Empire, we know that there was an important emperor of the east part of the Roman Empire that in the 6th century AD tried to conquer, to reconquer the part of the Western Roman Empire that the Roman Empire had lost. In particular, Justinian, in this type of movement, military movement, had a specific type of important did a specific type of important reconquests. In particular, he reconquered the Italian peninsula, the western part of Africa, of the Roman Empire, in this sense, in particular, the region of Tunisia, and then also the southeast of Spain. In this type of structure, we know that Justinian, in this sense, developed a specific type of revival of the Roman Empire, and at the same time, developed a specific type of conciliation and connection in relation with the idea of Roman law that he developed in any case during his govern in the East Roman Empire. In fact, Justinian tried to save the Roman law and this type of code that Justinian developed, or better, the jurists of Justinian developed, because Justinian chose some jurists that had the mission to rethink and to select the important edicts of the law of the Roman Empire, or in general the laws of the Roman Empire, in this type of code that the name of this code it was Corpus Juris Civilis. This is really interesting because then we know that in Europe there was on the one hand the idea of the Christianity with the Roman Empire that became Christian, and then arrived the barbarian. But with time, this barbarian became Christian, in particular with the Franks in a first time. And on the other hand, we know that Justinian, in the sense from the 6th century AD, succeeded to reconquer some part of the Western Roman Empire. And in this type of period, he developed a specific type of code to save the idea of Roman law. Therefore, we know that a specific type of codification it was in relation with the idea of movement of the jurists of the law of the Roman Empire, and at the same time, the connection between West and East, it was that specific type of connection that considered the life of monasteries that in the West became really important, in particular from the 6th century AD and the 7th century AD, but the idea of monasteries that, in any case, and the monks that happened also in the East Roman Empire. But in particular, we know that this type of structure of community of the monasteries arrived to be really important, in particular in the West Roman Empire, as a community. In fact, the difference between the idea of monasteries between the West and the East is that in the East, the main type of the community life of the monasteries it was that the monasteries were alone. On the contrary, the monks in the West, in the West Middle Ages, founded some communities. First type of community was founded from by the community of the Benedictines monks. This type of communities were really important because they develop a specific type of connection between themselves. They develop a specific type of connection across a rule, for example, a rule of Benedict, and they did not move between the lands, but in particular they move then to stay in a specific type of land to live together. In this type of situation, we know that on the one hand, the idea of Justinian of the codification of the law, but also on the other hand, the idea of the monks that maintain the idea of cities in the West Middle Ages, but also that indirectly were really important to develop a specific type of commerce and economical growth. This is also another type of topic that is really important. And the Roman law, this sense, it was cultivated also by these monks in relation with the fact that some of these monasteries, some of these monks saved the ancient classics. For example, the monks who worked to the books. This is also really interesting. And therefore, we know that the idea of law in relation with the fact that the Roman Empire, it was fallen. In any case, it was saved from the monks in this sense, and also from Justinians. There was a specific type of connection, therefore, of the reconquest of Justinians to the West Middle Ages. And then we know that after the coronation, but in particular in that period of the Empire of Carloman, it was really important to consider that it was founded as a first time, as a first type of um, empire, Christian empire, the Carolingian Empire, with a specific type of division between the power of a pope that accepted to uh, to recognize Carloman as an emperor, and at the same time the power of a king, the Carloman, that power that Carloman had to govern, the temporal power. And in this sense, the idea of Roman law it was in relation with this type of distinction that with the Carloman became official, the temporal power and the spiritual power. That in any case was theorized during the end of the Western Roman Empire by Pope Gelasius with the division of the two powers, the temporal power and the spiritual power. But now that became official in relation with the idea of empire as a new type of empire of the Middle Ages that tried to rethink the ancient Roman Empire in relation with the Christianity. This is really interesting because then the idea of Roman law it was saved technically in relation with this type of form in the age of the Christianity, during and in particular from the idea of the empire of Carloman, and then during next centuries of the Middle Ages. Therefore, after the 8th and the 9th century AD. Bye.